Hey BookTube, it's Jackie. How's it going? If you're new to me and it's the first time you're seeing my face, hello, what's up? My name's Jackie. I sit on my floor and I talk about books. So I hope that's why you're here, because that's what's going to be happening today. If you're not new to me, thank you for always tuning in, the continued support. I really do appreciate it. So today for you, I have my weekly wrap up. This is from January 29th through February 4th and all my reading shenanigans in between. And this would be week 5 of 2023. Wow. Right at week 5? Damn. So I don't have as much to talk about as I'd like to. I have only a few things really to talk about, but without further ado, grab yourself a drink, have yourself a seat. Let's get talking some books. All right. So I only completed 2 books this week. I started an audiobook and I am still working on my Readsy Discovery book, which review will be coming up this week. So that's what I've been focusing the most on. And I did also start a ebook as well. So I started a lot. I'm working on a lot and I finished 2. So a lot of stuff got done this week. I just didn't complete as much as I wanted to, but that's okay. I'm not freaking out. We're not worrying about it, but let's get into what I actually did complete. So the first book I completed this week was House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas, the first installment of the Crescent City series. I gave this a 4.5 star. So I was reading this for the SJM read-along. We only have 2 more installments this read-along. And if you're not familiar by this point what the SJM read-along is, that is the Sarah J. Maas read-along hosted by Jen over at the Book Refuge. We're reading all of Sarah J. Maas's published works in publication order to find connections and tie-ins to all of her series. And this was the installment for last month. I was supposed to be on a live show, but I just didn't get it done in time. I was halfway through at the live show, so I didn't want to get spoiled for it, and I really wasn't in it when the live show went on. For this book, we do have some triggers of drug use, murder, graphic sexual situations, and some classism we do see very, very prevalently in this installment. If you are not familiar with this installment or Sarah J. Maas in general, this work is her 3rd series that she has started working on, and this is the first installment of it, and we follow Bryce, Quinlan, and Hunt Alathar. Bryce is a half-fae party girl who is best friends with Danica, the most powerful alpha of the pack of devils in Crescent City. And the whole story falls within this one city. So a very, very small world that Sarah is creating and building within this novel. After a night of partying, Bryce has come home and found Danica and the entire pack slaughtered. And then some instances happen, some events happen, and then we have a time jump of about 2 years where that one night comes back into question, and Bryce is paired up with Hunt Alathar, who is a fallen angel from the war. He is actually a slave. He's got the slave markings with like the tattoo on his forehead insignaling that he is a slave. But he is paired up with Bryce to basically solve these murders, because these murders are happening again. The same grotesqueness and level of viciousness that was exposed with Danica and her pack's murder, we start seeing in other murders, and Bryce is the connection. She is connected to all the murders because they at one point in time had something to do with her. So this is where our story really takes off. What I thought worked in this book was the plot line. I really enjoyed this mystery thriller kind of element. There is some pieces that we are looking for. There's actually multiple plot lines that all weave into one. So we are looking for pieces. We also have, trying to solve this murder. We also have these family dynamics that are coming in. There's a lot of moving parts in this book. And it worked really well, but it was very different from what I'm used to dealing with Sarah. Now, I'm not an expert on Sarah by any means. This is my first go through with her for anything. This is my first read through on any of her works, but this installment definitely is nothing similar to her previous series by any means, shape, or form until about the very end. Another thing that really worked in this book was the world building. This world is what the fuck. There are so many levels to this world. I mean, we are dealing with fae, angels, werewolves, vampires. We got some snake people. We got some mer people. We got some weird cosmic talking through different realms sort of things going on. There are so many levels to this world and the people that are involved in it, and this hierarchy. There was a lot in this book, and Sarah gave it all. Just bam, here you go. Deal with it. Have fun. I really enjoyed the twists and turns in this book. I felt that they were fairly reminiscent of the Sarah that I've gotten used to this past year reading all of her works with the SJM read-along. I did enjoy them. I thought the shock value was kind of there, and the what the fuck moments were there. I had a good time. And if you're wondering why I'm not super ecstatic talking about this, is because all of these elements that worked also didn't work for this installment for me. The plot lines, they were so different than what I'm used to dealing with Sarah. So different that it made me feel kind of uneasy about it. I didn't really know what to do. I felt like I was reading her brand new, out the gate for the very first time, all over again. And I didn't really enjoy that feeling because, no, I didn't read Sarah when she first came out and read the books when they first came out. But for the last literally almost year, I have read a Sarah J. Maas book or two a month. And to have what I thought I knew completely just kind of thrown out the fucking gate, it didn't really sit well with me. It made me feel kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what? I wasn't so much a fan of that. So these plot lines, however they worked for this story, they didn't work for the feel that I was expecting. And maybe that was the problem with me going into this installment. The world building, fantastic world building, phenomenal. But another thing that worked but didn't work for me because it was straight info dumping, and Sarah's not known for info dumping. Now, granted, Throne of Glass, we had a 7-8 book series to build this world, and we got the pieces that we needed for that plot line. And then the next book, we got further development of the world. This, I feel like she just handed me the world and said, here's the history of the Crescent City. Here's a quick rundown of the war. Here's all the people involved. Here's the hierarchy. Oh, by the way, figure it out the rest of it your fucking self. Like, I feel like there's so much more missing that I don't understand this, but she gave me so much that it was hard to process at points because there was so much world building in this, and it was so condensed and so just like, here you go, Wikipedia version, have at it. And again, something that worked well, but it just didn't sit with me, so it didn't work well at the same time. The twists and turns and revelations, yes, they were on point, but because usually with Sarah, with her twists and turns and revelations, they are shocking. I have done multiple vlogs of reading her books. I will link my video vlog playlist up here. And most of those vlogs, actually, I believe almost all of them, minus a few like erotic ones, they're all Sarah J. Maas books. You can see the shock and the tears and the pain during her revelations and her big moments. I saw where the big moments were coming, but I didn't have the same connection because I didn't have the connection with those characters. So those revelations, however awesome they were, they didn't hit for me the way I felt they were supposed to. Her revelations have hit for me in the past because I wasn't as connected to the characters. I didn't have enough time with them to have this kind of connection. There was only really one major revelation hit point that kind of threw me, and it's a big one. And I remember thinking, oh, this is the Sarah that I'm fucking used to. Okay, all right, I'm good. I'm good. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm back in it. Maybe it was just this installment because it's written so differently. I can honestly say if this was the first book I ever picked up of Sarah J. Maas, I probably would not have picked up the rest of her stuff because the feel I got from this, it just was like bam, 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 but not in a good sitting on the edge of your seat kind of way. It was like, I am trying to rush to get through all this shit because there's a bigger story here, but I'm not fleshing it out. And I'm hoping that in future installments of this series, that stuff will get fleshed out because I have a lot of fucking questions. I have a lot more than what I feel comfortable leaving this book with. So, little side note, little backstory. This is actually the first Sarah J. Maas book I ever purchased. First one. I bought this when it came out with the intention of reading it before reading any of her other works, but I just never got to it. And I'm very glad that this book sat on my shelf for as long as it did, because had I read this first, I don't think I would have fallen in love with Sarah. I just don't think I would have, based off of this one story. Is it good? Yes. Yes, it is. It's fantastic. But the reason it's fantastic is because the last 200, 250 pages, that's the Sarah that I know. That's where everything tied together. But this is an 800+ page book. And it took me to the last 200, 250 pages to really actually get hooked into it. The rest of it was just kind of like this the entire way. Like maybe some blips here and there, but it was pretty stagnant. And I was like, fucking A, damn. And as for a spice rating, well, this thing's just a fucking tease. It's just a fucking tease. There were so many moments where I felt where I was starting to see the romance build, but it just wasn't strong enough. Nothing about this book was strong enough, but Sarah did pull all of her traditional tricks. There's no new Sarah tricks revealed, except it's a whole different kind of concept of like a murder thriller mystery sort of thing. That's the different point. But everything else is stuff that Sarah's done. She's just doing it differently. And I don't know if it's because I'm so used to this one way that I have to adapt myself for a different way for this series. Now, when I finished this book, I did watch the live show, and a common thread among the live show was that somebody who is reading this book for the first time, it didn't really work for them. That was a very common thread. It's something I've been told by a lot of people. It's something that I've seen and something I've experienced. So knowing that and knowing how much I love Sarah J. Maas's writing, and knowing that all of these people who said on their first go around that I respect felt the same way that I do about this installment, when I go to reread this, so when the next installment comes out, I plan on rereading the previous installments to prepare myself, because I don't know when that third book is going to come out. I will have a different feel about this book, because everybody that had the same feeling that I have right now has changed their tune on a second reread. Now, is that the makings of a good book? I don't know. Should you have to reread a book a second time to really enjoy it the way it should be enjoyed? That's, I think, very personal question to people. But I did give this a 4.5 stars because this is Sarah J. Maas. She walked in as a 3-star. She walked in as it. And the last 250 pages bumped it up to 4.5 for me, because I definitely felt this is the Sarah that I'm used to. But within the storyline that she gave me, it was just elevated a little bit more. But I'm excited for House of Earth and Sky. I think is the second one. I think House of Breath and Sky. Sorry, House of Breath and Sky. I'm excited to read that one, to see what happens, because I feel like Rune is going to be featured in that one a lot more, and I really liked him. I really liked him as a character. He's one character that I did really enjoy, and Therian, I think is how you say his name, the merman guy, liked both of those characters a lot. Those were the two that I actually enjoyed when they were on page. I enjoyed Hunt and Bryce. I did, but the chemistry that was given to me, I felt one bit of chemistry. One bit, and it was the kitchen scene. That was the only scene where I was like, oh, yes, things are happening. So, But the rest of it, like even the actual like semi sort of hookup scene, the fuck? The fuck was that? Like, and that was something I fucking usually enjoy in super sexy fun time books. I usually enjoy that action. It's something I look forward to, and I'm just like, okay. And the big reveal right after that, want to know why it was shocking for me? Because that was the scene that happened right before it. That's why it was shocking. Not because I was surprised that that is how the storyline went. So, yeah. But this book did win the poll in January to have a full book review. So I will go into further in depth on all of these points in that review. And I will link it up here when it is ready to go. I'm still working on it. So, yep. There you go. The next book I completed was Amore Jones' Broken Puppet. This was also 4.5 stars as well. And this is the second installment from the Elite Kings Club series. This is one of the series that I would like to complete this year. And Amore Jones is one of my backlist authors. I would like to attempt to read her entire backlist this year. In this book, we have graphic sexual situations, we have child sexual assault on page, and we have Amore Jones' true mindfuckery at not its finest, but at a different elevated level. I think she still has ways to go. Like, I'm pretty sure this bitch can still fuck with me. So this is a direct follow-up of A Silver Swan, which I read last year, and I fucking adored. I mean, I needed Jesus, therapy, and a cigarette after that book. I did not need a cigarette after this book, and I did not need Jesus, but I think I might need still some therapy. So, not as, you know, big of a punch, but all the components were still there. So you do have to read Silver Swan to understand this book, but the summary that I can give you without spoiling that first book is that we do get some of the secrets from the first book revealed, and we are left with a lot more questions that are created from this installment. They are not created, they're not left over from the first installment and just kind of carried through. We do get some more revelations, more questions. So I really enjoy the fact that she's still continuing to hook me and want me to continue with this series. These questions were strong enough that, yeah, I want to know these answers, but they weren't annoying enough to piss me off. Her revelations and twists, she leveled up. She leveled up with not the placement of them, but the severity of them. We got some serious revelations in this one, like plot-changing revelations. In the first installment, we get, yes, they are plot-changing revelations, but it's their timing that really hits me on that first installment. This one, it is, oh, so this is where this plot is fucking going. Oh shit, you just took this plot that I thought I sort of understood and did a full 360 on it. Or a full 180. I don't know the expression, guys. So now I know that the storyline is going this way. And so that's what I mean with like leveled up revelations, but her timing was still on point. But it was just the impact that the revelations had now in this installment were a little bit more eye-opening. Like, oh shit, crap. And these revelations and twists definitely could lend to excelling this book, or they could fail miserably. Like, they are those kind of revelations, and you know the ones I'm talking about because you've read books with them. They're just like, this could go jump the shark moment, or this could be like fucking the moment to end all moments kind of revelations. So I really enjoyed that with this installment. What worked? Questions answered and more questions given. For every question that was answered, I got a new one to answer in the next upcoming installment. It was completely balanced, and I love that. I love that it was not overly answering or overly left unanswered questions. I really, really enjoyed the balance that Amore Jones gave with this installment. We also got to see a further development of Bishop and Madison's relationship, which I really, really enjoyed. In the first installment, it's very hate to love, but it's more on the hate side. He hates that she's important. And this one, he still hates that she's important, but he's starting to love the fact that she embraces that hate. and embraces his fucking oddball nature, and he's starting to really, I don't want to say soften towards her, but he's starting to open towards her. And I don't really want to say that's soft, because for Bishop's character, opening is very difficult to do. The leveled up revelations and twists, like I said, worked amazing, because I love the fact that we got more plot changing revelations, not just great timing, but we're talking impactfulness into the plot line. Definitely love that. What didn't work, however, this installment was not as steamy as the first one, and I'm kind of pissed about that. The steam in the first one was fucking amazeballs. This one, I did not feel that steam. Was there still a steamy couple of scenes? Sure, but I did not feel the erotic arousal that I was expecting after the first installment. So that was kind of a letdown for me. Another element, what didn't work, and this, I had to go back. I went back and watched my wrap up on the Silver Swan, and I said in that video that there were some unanswered questions that I felt like shouldn't have been left unanswered. I felt like I don't mind unanswered questions, but the ones that I feel like don't really matter, like I'd rather you just explain why you just kind of dropped that plot point or didn't answer it. I don't really like those. And that was a hit against Silver Swan. Well, I'm sitting here and eating my fucking words because, bitch, God damn it. So all of those unanswered questions that I thought would be easily explainable, they weren't. They were not easily explainable because they're the fucking plot of this goddamn book. This is what this bitch did. She dropped plot points in the first book and then brought them and made them the plot of the second book. And I'm like, bitch, you did not just make me fucking eat my words. God damn it. Well, she did. And so when I was making my notes, I made a note of dropping plot points, specifically this New Zealand tattoo artist guy in the very beginning of the book. The abruptness of how that was dropped is the abruptness of how one of the plot points I was referencing in the first book was. And that one is one of the major plot points of this installment. So what I feel like is this is a Mo Jones trick. I think this is one of her, maybe a signature of her, where she just gives you something and then just pretends it doesn't fucking exist anymore. But then she brings it back. And I feel like this plot point, some of the ones that she dropped, are going to be that. So it's annoying and it doesn't work for me and it pisses me off, but I'll be damned if the next installments bring them back. So I'm hoping that those will come back. So I'm kind of sitting on the edge of, does this work? Does it not work? Sort of thing. There is this constant thread of I'm going to kill you or I'm going to fuck you. And she says this multiple times. She has Bishop say this multiple times in different formats and responded to in different formats. And it started to get it was cool in the beginning and then it started getting kind of a little annoying. It's like it was just overdone a little bit. It's like, I get it. I fucking get it. I get it. Let's move on. Give me something else. So a little repetition on that was just a little overdone for me. And the biggest thing that didn't work for me, though, in this book was Madison's naiveness. This is a character trait that she didn't have in the first book. In the first book, she is fucking confused. And you as the reader are just as confused as she is, which works. In this book, she's not as confused. She has some answers, but she wants more. And she keeps asking for answers. And these assholes aren't giving them to her. What they're saying to her is to read the book. She has this book, this Tacitus Mortuus, I think is how you pronounce it, that explains the Silver Swan. And all the guys are telling her, when we became kings, we had to read this book. Where are you in the book? How far are you in the book? Where did you get in the book? She doesn't just sit down and read the fucking book. They're literally telling you your answers to your questions are in this fucking book. Why aren't you sitting down? Because they're not sitting down and explaining it to you like a goddamn child. Figure it out your fucking self. You have the tools. Find the answers yourself. You want to be this big bad bitch? Fucking prove it. And the naiveness of her really pissed me off. It was just, you have the tools, fucking use them. use them. They're telling you to use them, but you refuse to listen to that because you want them to break it down to you, and they're not. They're never going to do that. They're kings. They're not going to. Figure out your fucking self, Swanee. You know? It was, that was kind of irritating. Spice rating on this one, like I said, it's not as potent as the first one, so it only got a 3 chili peppers, but the few scenes we got were very angry, aggressive sex scenes, so if you like angry, aggressive hate sex, this is definitely one for it. And we do get to see a romance that you kind of want to happen, but it's not, but maybe it will be later. So we do get some blossoming, maybe new stuff. And we also get Bishop and Madison strengthening that sexual relationship that only Bishop and Madison can have. And it is very, very aggressive. It's very, very territorial and marking, and all of the fun stuff that Emo Jones can do. I thoroughly enjoyed that. And then again, the blurring of the line of I'm either going to kill you, or I'm going to fuck you, or I'm going to kill you, or I'm going to fuck you, then kill you, or I'm going to kill you, then fuck your corpse. Like, it's kind of one of those. Like, there's so many blurring of lines in this book. It's just, it makes for the sex scenes really hot and heavy and intense, but it also makes them a little repetitive because of this constant blurring and use of the same kind of language towards it. So the spice rating, not as potent as the first installment, so I'm hoping in the third installment we'll ratchet back up, because I do like some Emo Jones sex scenes. They are some good ones, for sure. Now, I did start an audiobook this week. It is Well Played by V. Keeland and Penelope Ward. I am about 25% of the way through it. This is a grumpy sunshine trope, a small town. I'm going to call it a football romance right now. I don't know if I'm going to stick with it as a football romance, because our hero is a football player, but he's kind of on leave. But our heroine's son is learning to play football, and that's kind of like something that the son and the hero kind of have in common. We also have a single mom. As I said, there is a son, and we have the ex-fiance's brother, who happens to be our hero. We follow Presley and Levi. Presley was engaged to Levi's younger brother, who also played for the NFL, but due to an injury, his career was stopped short, and he has something of a gambling problem. And Presley decides to leave after her fiance's grandfather passes away, and leaves a percentage of this bed and breakfast inn to her son. So she goes with her son back to their original hometown to kind of make a go of this hotel. And Levi, who is the brother who also has half of this hotel, is trying to get her to sell it. Now, Levi, however, is still an active member of the NFL. He's just currently on leave. And they meet, and you could immediately tell there's chemistry there. So we do have a very, what I believe will be a steamy book, but I'm just not there yet. I'm still in the playful stages where they're just kind of like overtly flirting with each other. None of the real hardcore drama has actually hit just yet that I think will be there. But all the makings of very dramatic, very steamy are there. So I'm very, very excited about continuing this and seeing where this goes. I also started on my Kindle Comfort by Megan Matthews, and it looks like this. This is for the ABCs of Love read-along. That is my read-along that I'm hosting with Jen over at the Book Refuge. If you're not familiar with that, this is a series, ABCs of Love novel that Kindle and Amazon put together, where it's kind of the ABC challenge. Every book has a different letter of the alphabet, but they're all romance books, all different authors, all multiple tropes, and we are reading them throughout the year and kind of comparing, contrasting, and talking about them. And this is the installment for C. I'm only about, I would say 20% the way through so far. And so far it's, I don't really know what to say about it right now. I really don't have any thoughts on it right now. I don't want to say that it's awful, but right now I can already see some consistency issues in the first 20% of the book. So I want to make sure I go back over those and make sure it wasn't something that I personally missed. And it's actually because the inconsistency is actually there. It's not just because I forgot something or I misread something the wrong way, because that does happen. So I want to give it its fair shot, because I've never read Megan Matthews before. And the overarching plot line, I haven't really seen it yet at 20% of the book. So we're going to find out. We're going to find out. I'm still holding strong. Still have the faith. Still keep the faith that one of these ones will be kind of good. So, but that's what I worked on this week. And then I also worked on my Readsy Discovery book of A Haunt. It looks like this, and you will see a full review of this very, very soon, as it is due very, very soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. This is definitely a chunker, so it's taking me a while to get through, and I want to make sure that I do it right, because there is a lot of information in this. Victorian Gothic Western. Yeah. And the trigger list is like fucking 3 pages. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But that is what I've got for you guys this week. And the last part for this is, since this is the first full week of the month, I posted a poll on my community tab of what book from my February TBR you guys would like to see a full book review on. And so the winner is, with total, I only had 18 votes, and at 50% is the winner, is Emily Shore's Bride of the Corpse King. So you will see a full book review on this one at some point in time in this month. So I'm excited about this one. I'm actually friends with Emily on Facebook, so I'm really anxious to see what she has to say about my review. So yeah, and this was actually a gift to me by, I still don't know, Santa has not come forward. So if you're Santa, you're getting a full book review on it now, so please let me know so I can properly thank you and acknowledge you. So, yep, that's what I got for you guys today. I will see you guys all soon with another video.